One breezy morning, Trevor the traction engine was miserable. He had been feeling ill all day and couldn't steam properly. The vicar had come to see him. "I'm making arrangements to have you sent away," he said. "Sent away?" cried Trevor. "You mean back to the scrapyards?" "Heavens, no," laughed the vicar. "To have you sent to the works. I've heard these winds won't be dropping any time soon, and I want to have you somewhere that is much more safe than this shed. I'll ask Sir Topham Hatt if one of his engines could drop you off there. It would be the quickest way to get there." Trevor felt better, but didn't have the strength to say much more. Soon the Fat Controller got the call and was happy to help. "Henry has a goods train tomorrow. He can pick up Trevor along the way." The vicar was delighted. It was a good plan, but Henry didn't think so, and made it clear in the sheds. "Botheration," he grumbled. "They should use a lorry to deliver him. Why throw the extra load onto me? I'm an engine, not a bus." The other engines laughed, but Edward was cross and spoke severely to him. "Trevor is a reliable and important friend. He deserves the safest and quickest transport to the works, and you, Henry, are the perfect engine for it." Henry still wasn't pleased with the arrangements, but was too tired to argue any further, and went grumpily to sleep. The next morning, Edward brought Trevor to the junction. "Cheer up, Trevor," he smiled. "Henry will be here soon to take you on." Trevor tried his best as Edward left, but it was easier said than done. Some time later, Henry pulled in with his goods train. "Hello," said Trevor. "You must be Henry." "And you must be Trevor," came the blunt reply. "Well, come along then. We mustn't waste time." Soon Trevor was at the front of the train behind Henry. He was surprised at the green engine's attitude. Is something wrong?" he asked. "It's not your fault," replied Henry, "but with having to pick you up and then drop you off again, it'll be hard to make up for lost time." "I am sorry," replied Trevor, "but I am thankful you are able to take me to the works. Otherwise I'd be stuck in the orchard all week, with nothing but howling winds." Soon they were on their way. Trevor tried to make a conversation. "You know, I had never been in an orchard until the vicar saved me. It's not always busy, but it's very lovely. Plenty of shade in the summer, and the sweet smell of apples. Then sometimes you can hear the joyful laughter of children in nearby playgrounds." "Sounds like quite a disturbance more than anything," grunted Henry. "Imagine trying to rest, only to hear some noisy, troublesome children." "Oh, I don't know about that," huffed Trevor. "Some children can be a nuisance, but we were all young at one point." "Well, I suppose," replied Henry thoughtfully. The winds began to pick up, blowing fiercely into Henry's face. "Ugh!" he groaned. "This gets any worse, and I might as well be swept off the line." Then, as they approached a level crossing, Henry and his driver spotted something lying on the track. "Slow down, Henry," called his driver. "There's something in the way." It was well that he did. Otherwise, he would have run into a cluster of fallen branches spread out on the line. "Worse and worse," moaned Henry. "Now I'll be even more late." The driver, fireman, and guard inspected the obstruction. "Well, we're certainly too small to carry these away," commented the guard. "We'll just have to phone for a crane." "No choice, really," sighed the driver. "And goodness knows how long it will take for it to get here." "Excuse me, could I help?" Everyone looked back in surprise. "Trevor?" exclaimed Henry. "I might be ill, but I could still try and pull those branches out of the way for you." Henry wasn't sure. But the driver was delighted. "Brilliant idea!" he cried. "Let's get to it." Using planks of wood, Trevor had rolled off his truck and had strong chains attached to the branches. With all his strength, he puffed and pulled them away from the track. He was short of breath and coughed loudly, but he struggled on. Henry couldn't believe it, but was impressed all the same. "Come on, Trevor," he whistled. "You've got it! You've got it!" Soon the line was cleared and everyone cheered. Trevor was exhausted and couldn't say anything, but he managed a wide smile. Once he was loaded back onto the truck, he immediately closed his eyes. "Poor engine," thought Henry as he continued on. "He really wore himself out." At the works, Trevor was left on a siding, awaiting his repairs. Henry pulled up alongside and gave a quiet "thank you." Trevor's eyes were still shut, but in return he muttered, "You're welcome." As Henry puffed away, Trevor knew that the two green engines had become friends.